Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube. Also, make sure to rate 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. PayPal, this is the final mock draft. This is the last one that we have. How are you feeling? Like it's draft week now, boy.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and it's almost like, these are the final mock drafts. So this is kind of like, all right, this is the final deal. We'll see if we kind of are correct. See if, I mean, I imagine you did yours on PFF, but we'll see if PFF is kind of correct in what the Bears can get, because there's just so much we don't know if we are able to get. Some of these drafts you see from people, it's like, wow, like you're getting some darn good players, but we'll see if it can come true at draft day.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I am excited. And actually, fun thing, I'm not using any mock draft simulator for this because I was talking to some people. I'm like, man, I am fed up with these mock draft simulators because they're all over the place. So what I'm doing is I actually went through and just gathered as much detail. And I'm like, what do I think is actually going to happen? And how would I actually do it? So I like it because you have the PFF side, which is now actually on NFL.com. And then I just did look through everything and then grabbed whatever I could and went with that. But PayPal,
Cool.
There's more and more rumors about now Bijan. I saw this on the PFF stuff that he's now the eighth overall player. Yeah, so stuff is going on for sure. But that's why we're going to be breaking down the our mock drafts and some awesome stuff.
Yeah, the PFF drafts have, I was doing a couple before this, and it's just, they're kind of fun now because
they changed
before it was just the same thing, and now leading up to the draft, they changed a lot of where people are ranked, where you can draft people. Some of the guy, honestly, my first pick, I was shocked when I was able to get this guy when I could. But yeah, it's nice what the Bears can do and what we have available for our picks.
For sure. So let's get right into it. And actually, before we get right into it, also, we're taking some feedback. We want to make sure that everything's good. For those that are watching, you might notice we look a little bit different. We have a different little studio. We are increasing what we look and sound like. We're trying to be as good as possible and give you the best Bears coverage that we can. If you have any suggestions, send them over to unbearablesports@gmail.com. Do you like something? Do you want to see something different? Do you want to hear something different? Anything that's out there, make sure to send out to us. We can't wait to hear from you. So PayPal, let's get started. So the first thing out here, there's a question that I have for everyone, including you, PayPal. First question, Jalen Carter is now the favorite to go to the Chicago Bears. I'm curious about everyone out there. Jalen Carter, are you taking Jalen Carter if he's at 9, or are you trading back? So just before we even get into the mock draft, I'm curious. Are we trading back to get 17 and 32, or are you taking Jalen?
If Jalen Carter is available, Brad, it kind of shakes things up. I would actually take Jalen Carter.
Okay.
Because you look at how this is the thing that kind of sold me, because I was kind of unsure at first. I'm okay, he has kind of character issues. PFF literally states that this is the best defensive interior prospect that they've seen since Quinnen Williams. So since 2014.
Yeah.
So this is the best prospect they've seen. That's a pretty high, he's going to be good then. I think he's kind of on that level of blue chip besides the character issues. So I think I would go for it, because that's a position group that we need. And with that, there's still tackles available, because that's kind of the next, all right, if we draft him, then, we got to draft tackles. So I think there'd still be a good picks out there that we could still get, like a Cody Mauk, or we still talk about Blake in the
Blake
draft,
Freeland.
Blake Freeland in the draft. So there's still like these good available tackles when we go Jalen Carter if he's available.
Good point. To me, I agree with Steve in the comments. I think that to me, just take the picks. I mean, yeah, like you made the good point about the blue chip, but yeah, I'm on the side of the picks. Yeah, it's going to be something really interesting, and that's where can't wait for the draft to start out. But let's actually get into our picks. PayPal, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
For our first pick, I could go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with the first pick in the draft. So, Johnny, PayPal, who do you have pick number 9?
So yeah, just Jalen Carter was actually picked right before this. So I'm not, I'm not lying or anything. But what I did, I because he wasn't available, I traded back with the Steelers, got 17 and 32.
Okay.
I still don't know exactly how that trade's going to work. I feel like some people are saying that we can just give them the 9, which I think would be insane if we can. That'd be awesome if we could just give them the 9. But, I did a 5th round. I don't know if that's still cheaping them out. It's still unsure, I guess, around the horn of what it's going to be. But yeah, with that trading back to 17, Brad, I was able to get Paris Johnson Jr.
Paris Johnson.
I was able to get Paris Johnson Jr., which I was completely shocked about because, man, like if he drops all the way back there, that's exactly what we want. I think Broderick Jones is kind of the other tackle that they are eyeing out for and kind of they can choose between. But Paris Johnson Jr., he got the view. Like he got they saw him. They went out and interviewed him as a prospect. So I really think they're going to go for him if he is available at that spot. We know who he is. I mean, he's a junior, Ohio State, 6'6", 313, perfect size, has all the athleticism in the frame that you want in a guy, but just the only downside is kind of his hands that aren't really that the best yet. He kind of loses touch and everything. So he's a phenomenal player and has a lot of room to grow. Rather than like a Peter Skronsky. So I really wanted, I was so shocked when he was available at this pick because that's who I wanted. I was even thinking, I'm like, okay, maybe I get him at 9. I've been drafting him at 9. And then to get him at 17, I'm a happy camper.
Touche. So you got him at 17. On my side, I didn't trade back because I sometimes for mock drafts, I don't like to trade back to try and keep it as like simple and as true to like what the Bears have as possible. Right. So for me, I was kind of asking the question to myself, like, who would the Bears pick? And something that does kind of come up. What if the Bears went with truly like best player available? Because people say best player available, but they don't actually mean it. Like best player available is getting a cornerback or maybe even a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. But to me, like, overall, the Bears need an offensive tackle. They really do. And we've said this before. I don't like the depth in the second round. I don't like the day 2 people. I don't like there's some people in day 3 that I like at the offensive tackle position. So PayPal, my number 9 pick is Paris Johnson Jr. So you got him at 17. I got him at 9. All the reasons that you said, I don't have to say anything else. But I think that what just happened is a good reason as to why I think all of us, every Bears fan out here hopes that the Bears trade back. Yeah. Because there's like like you said, there's like 4 offensive tackles, big 5 offensive tackles, because Broderick Jones is a better scheme fit. Darnell Wright is more of your big power guy that just mauls people like crazy. Paris Johnson is the consensus best player, best tackle by basically everybody that's out there. And then also Skronsky, you never know, right? And that's where it's like trading back is probably the best thing that the Bears could do. So no matter what, we have Paris Johnson Jr. as our first pick in the draft. Yeah. I guess
Yep.
everybody out there too. I'm just kind of curious, just for the people in the comments, who would you take at number 9? Who are you hoping for?
Yeah, Brad, even that 17 pick, I was like, I think if that 9 pick, I really think because they've had interviews with Devon Witherspoon. I don't know if they would get him but that's just an interesting person I saw that they've been looking at.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, at that 17th spot, it's like, okay, Van Ness is around there. Kalijah Cansey, if they're interested in him, you get all these guys that are still going to be pretty, they're projected to be pretty darn good. And then yeah, you also get that 32nd pick, which for me, I think that's huge because yeah, again, it's like there's other tackles in that area and edge defenders. Maybe there's a great player that drops somehow to that 32nd pick. So I like it.
Yeah, and so PayPal, that's where I'm really excited to see where yours goes because I love the idea of them trading back at 17, getting a tackle, right? They trade back, get the tackle. Now, who are you getting at 32? Because there's a lot of good people that are out there. So I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, I went for this was kind of the best player available type of thing where I have to think the Bears can try and make this guy fit their scheme as well. That's the one question I kind of have with him. And this is Will McDonald. Absolute, we know he's just all the Bears fans kind of know he's a super great pass rusher, got that speed, kind of prefers the speed rush over the power rush. Yeah, senior out of Iowa State, 6'4", 245, has all that size, has everything. His run defense is kind of in question. He's still pretty physical in that run game. Like he uses his body well, but just can't shed off the guys as well as you hope for. And that's kind of like with that hands usage he doesn't really do. So he doesn't really get a grip on the guys. But yeah, I think he's the best player available that I thought at that spot. It's just kind of the question is, yeah, can he fit in our scheme as a 4-3 rather than a 3-4? But yeah, I think he's great.
That makes sense. I mean, also too, I love him as that speed rusher. So yeah, Bears Bones likes it. Will the Thrill, he's saying out there with Will McDonald. I'm an Anu Dike Uzama guy, like out of Kansas State. But I like what you did there, at least with like the defensive end. You're getting the pass rusher. So I can't complain. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, even though he doesn't fit the scheme, yeah, maybe, yeah, he'd just be that guy. He comes in on passing downs. He comes on these downs where we know he can go out wide rather than, having his hand in the dirt. He can kind of do that, two stance or whatever and just kind of attack that way because that's what his bread and butter is. He's not really going to be inside playing the run as much.
Okay, so let's go on to the second pick, and you're already making me look bad. You have Paris Johnson and Will McDonald, and I have just Paris Johnson. The power of the trade back.
Right.
So I'm going to try and redeem myself a little bit with the second pick, number 53 out there, because, what I'm asking is like, who might drop out here, right? Because at pick 53, you're talking about some top talent that might be dropping. And so this is where when I was putting together my mock draft, yet again, I didn't use a simulator. I was trying to think who would be someone that is high on a lot of people's boards that I want to make sure I get. And also Ryan Poles said this, a big thing that he focuses on is not just best player available, but like who else is still on the draft, right? If they have someone with a number 1 pick or a number 1 pick value, and then the next best person is like a 3rd round value, they're going to definitely value this player. And that's why to me, the person that I valued heavily was Keanu Benton, defensive tackle out of Wisconsin.
Oh.
So I'm going with the Wisconsin boy at pick 53. Big reason? He can play every spot at the defensive tackle spot. And that's why I love him, right? Like big, powerful, quick acceleration. It's not like, okay, he's going to be absolutely dominant, but his versatility is what I think is great. And also, when I look at picks 53 to 61, there's a lot of traps where I think he could get snatched up at that defensive tackle position. But also, we need defensive tackles. We have Billings and Justin Jones right now. I still think we need a starting caliber defensive tackle. I think Benton gives you versatility at the D tackles position, gives you some pass rush upside, and on passing downs, you can maybe move Walker and Green to the 3-tech. Benton can then shift over to play more of that one technique because, like I said, the guy can play everywhere. And to me, there's not a defensive tackle that sniffs Keanu Benton in day 2 that you can get. I mean, Mozzie Smith is going like basically round 1 out of Michigan. But I look later on, I like some of the later defensive tackle prospects, but I really think that Keanu Benton is head and shoulders above everyone else in that second round. So we got a D tackle.
Yeah, I love that pick, Brad. We've been talking about this guy for a while, and since was projected in the fifth round. So
yeah, and actually
love to see him in the second round now.
Real quick, Adam Dobbs was saying Adibare. I'm actually not super high on Adibare just because like he's got all the athletic traits, but I don't love the tape. I don't love what I saw. And yeah, he is though someone that could be potentially dropping down. Bears Bones likes his, Steve likes yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be definitely cool. Steve's already saying, "Hey man, 61, let's go for a center." PayPal, who do you have at pick 53 for you?
So yeah, I just want to explain for this because I think something that really helped me be like, all right, this is maybe what the Bears are going to get, like what they think they need. And I was looking at, who they have been kind of scouting out as prospects. And surprisingly, they've been actually scouting out a lot of defensive backs, as in corners, not really safeties. They have not scouted any safeties. So they're confident in what we have in that position. So with the next pick, I got Tyreek Stevenson out of Miami. Junior, 6 foot, 198. He has the size. He doesn't really have that athleticism necessarily. Almost like I still like kind of comparing him. People say like James Bradbury. I think of it also too like that Jalen Johnson, where it's like he's not going to kill you with that speed or anything, but he plays smart. He can adjust his body well. He has really, really good balance. That's a lot of scouts have been saying how he's just unshakable at the line because he can just balance and stay with his man. And he doesn't overreact, which is a huge thing where he just he's not going to let up those big plays, which we had as Bears fans the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of those, especially 2 years ago. I just remember it would just be terrible. We would have the lead and then, people would break, go over the top and break us. But
yeah,
great shutdown corner, man, and in off coverage as well. I like this guy. Still needs a little. He's not the best in running game. I mean, he still is a good tackler and everything, but I think this is a great fit for our scheme.
Okay, I like that. Stevenson, to me, it's like I'm not the highest person on him just because I'm a huge fan of like the burst and twitch, but that's where too like personal bias. There's a lot of people that are a lot higher on him. So that's a good pick. You get the corner. And see, for my next pick, at pick 61, because I feel like there's a lot of good corners. I like Julius Brents out of Kansas State, but I don't think that he falls to that pick 61, right? And so at pick 61, I'm looking at the board, and I got Paris Johnson. So I got my tackle. I got a D tackle. And I got to look at what's going on between pick 61 and pick 64. And to me, there's one guy that I really like out there that I think that definitely fits a need. And if no one else is really on there, I can get someone in free agency or later on in the draft. I don't need to reach, like we've said it. I'm not super high on Derek Hall, but someone who I am high on is I'm high on Isaiah Foskey. And big reason why I like Isaiah Foskey is they say it, right? When you have someone and you draft a defensive lineman, it's about their size and it's about their production. No one has better size and production than Isaiah Foskey. His athletic profile is similar to the freak Javon Curse and Jadeveon Clowney. Like, people aren't saying that enough. Also is the career sack leader at Notre Dame. There's obvious weaknesses in the run game. That is a big fear. But hey, if you're telling me that this is a guy that can get to the quarterback after we never got any sacks last year and Jaquan Brisker was our leading sack artist, give me Isaiah Foskey. He can get to the quarterback. He has the motor. He has the speed. He has the athleticism. And for someone that you can get in the second, I really like him. BJ Ojulari, though, is another person that comes up. I just felt like he wasn't going to be on the board at this time. I think that 3-4 systems are going to love BJ Ojulari. But I think that overall, Isaiah Foskey seems to be someone who can drop to pick 61. So for me, I'm all about, so now my line, I got Keanu Benton, I got Isaiah Foskey, and I got Paris Johnson. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good so far.
I love Isaiah Foskey. If we're able to get him, I feel like he's been kind of rising in people's boards. But that's the thing. We don't know. I mean, a bunch of other people are rising. A bunch of people are going down. So it's like you just don't know at draft day if we'll be able to get him or not. But with my 61st pick, it's kind of those boring picks. I don't love doing these picks, but I think it's exciting with this guy, Luke Weipler. He's center out of Ohio State. Played with Justin Fields for a year. That's my big selling point. That's where I was like,
okay,
we need to get this guy. Just see, and if they do draft him, I mean, Justin Fields might be like whispering in the ear, like, "Hey, this guy can do it." I love, playing with him. He knows what he's doing. Because, man, we got to get rid of Stinky Musty. We got to get rid of Lucas.
He's gone. Remember?
Yeah, he is gone.
We got to put him in the rear view.
Yeah, I still smell the stench though from here. But yeah, Luke Weipler has that technique. He's a smart player. The thing that kind of is concerned with people is that anchoring and kind of his strength. But man, PFF had him as one of the best pass blockers and zone grades. So we're a big zone running team. Great run blocker as well. Like, he's got it all. He kind of struggles a little bit in the gap, but phenomenal player, especially to get around the second round. That's where these centers kind of drop. So I love this guy.
Yeah, I can't say enough. And I know a lot of people in the comments were clamoring for a center. You get the center. So right now, I mean, yet again, you're looking good. You got Paris Johnson. You got Will McDonald. You got Tyreek Stevenson. You got Luke Whippler. That's the thing.
Man,
the Bears get him.
Yeah, only if you're able to get Jackson Smith-Njigba. Just get all these Ohio State guys. Surround Justin Fields with his family.
Exactly. Then he's got all his boys with him. But PayPal, I'm going to have you double up because I have something interesting that may or may not be the thumbnail of this episode. So I'll let you go with your pick 64. You have a center, you have a tackle, you have an edge, you have a cornerback. Where are you taking us with pick 64?
So I gotta say, I always want to say his actual name, but I gotta say his cool name, Tank Dell. I'm going wide receiver, Brad.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of like drafting these offensive players for Justin Fields. It just excites me to the future of the Bears and kind of that, we don't know what we're going to do with Mooney. And like I said before, the Bears, they're looking at a lot of wide receiver prospects where you think, I mean, I thought we were pretty good at wide receiver this year. Like we got a top three, we got our three guys set up, and then now I guess the Bears want kind of a replacement or something, or look at a new guy. So Nathaniel Dell, he's that technical runner. He just has an outstanding release. I mean, people just can't get enough of. He's like creating new routes that he's running and release patterns, and that's just huge when you look at a cornerback trying to guard that wide receiver. If you don't know what they're doing, or if you've never seen what they've done before, you just kind of sit there and might get juked out or just stand there and just watch because you're just in amazement. But like he's a great player. It's just his size is a big question, but we see it nowadays. I mean, Mooney, like his big thing was his size. That's why he dropped all the way to 5. But he doesn't play small, and I think Nathaniel Dell, he kind of has that heart where he doesn't play small either.
I do like that. I am curious too, who everyone else in the comments would also take too, like what's kind of the fan pick at 64? Because I like Tank Dell. I definitely think that he's got that speed, like you were saying, and we do need that weapon. And it is a pick for the future because we're gonna have some free agents. So
yep.
I like that pick, but PayPal. So I have Foskey on my mock draft. I have Foskey, Benton, and
what's he
Harris
gonna do?
Johnson Jr.
You gonna trade Justin Fields or something?
yeah. I'm like, screw. We don't need this. So at pick 64, I am actually going to get Luke Whippler. So I'm copying you with this. And yeah, you've already talked about him. Luke Whippler, center out of Ohio State. I'm grabbing him. He's been falling. So, or he's kind of that third rounder. And that's where, if I'm the Bears at pick 61, I'm seeing what centers are available, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. So for me, I'm looking at Luke Whippler, and I like him. I like what he's able to bring to the Bears. I like that he's able to bring some stability to the center position. So for me, though, Luke Whippler, we have a center, right? We have a tackle at Paris Johnson. So for me, I'm thinking about, why do we have Cody Whitehair? So, right? Because
I'm thinking the same thing.
Here's the thing. If we have a center in Luke Whippler that we believe can be the starting center, I like the idea of him and Lucas Patrick duking it out. The reason Cody Whitehair is a better center than Lucas Patrick, right? But money talks. If I am getting paid over $10 million and I am Cody Whitehair and you're telling me I have to play center, I could see it being like, move me, right? Get me out of here. Let me go. I think if this happens this way and the Bears have a center, the Bears have a tackle, it doesn't make sense to keep Cody Whitehair because we've seen how he snaps. We've seen how he kind of moves everyone around. He's solid, but if you can draft a center, there's no need to keep him around for his sake, right? And Lucas Patrick can be your backup center, be your backup guard, and I'm more than fine with that at his price tag. So to me, I'm trading away Cody Whitehair and getting the 92nd pick from the Cincinnati Bengals, who La'el Collins might miss the entire season this year with a knee injury. So because of this, I'm calling them up. They have $17 million in cap space, and you can trade him over, get the 92nd pick, and with the 92nd pick, what I'm going to be doing is I'm adding my favorite wide receiver, late round wide receiver, Michael Wilson, wide receiver out of Stanford at pick 92. 6'2", 213, Juju Smith-Schuster-esque vibes. And the reason why I'm picking him here is that I'm assuming all injuries check out, right? Bears look at him, and if his injuries check out, this guy's going to be going early. And that's why I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. I don't think he falls. He falls if there's more injury concerns, but he goes in the third if there's no injury concerns and he checks out. So that's why, to me, I'm saying get me the wide receiver that creates space. He's a big body, creates space, has first round tape when you see him playing, and he can block. So to me, Michael Wilson is the person that I'm going with. And also, Steve, thank you for doing the research on this. He said $9 million in cap savings when we do that trade too. So it's a win-win. PayPal, what do you think of my madman type of trade out here?
Yeah, you're not crazy, Brad. That is one heck of a trade. And Yeah, it's why do we have him? He did not perform last year. We basically got his replacement already. We don't know exactly who's going to be that left guard, if it's going to be Tevin Jenkins or the new guy, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, Whitehair just has not looked good. He served his years as a Chicago Bear, and I think
Yeah,
it's time to let him be free and still play left guard and not force him into a center position if he doesn't
exactly.
want to. But yeah, with my next pick, Brad, yeah, we'll go to round 4, 103.
Okay.
I'm going. You can't get enough D line if you're the Chicago Bears. I mean, there's you can't get enough. We were terrible last year, so I'm going the most productive guy in college football last year.
Okay.
It's not Will Anderson, Brad.
It's not Will Anderson.
It's not Will
the
Anderson.
Great Will Anderson.
It's Carl Brooks.
The great Carl Brooks.
The great Carl Brooks.
Okay.
The most productive defensive end in college football last year. I mean, this guy is an absolute physical freak at 6'4", 300 pounds, out of Bowling Green. He could not be stopped. He had 12 sacks, 8 QB hits, 49 hurries, 4 batted balls with a 93 PFF grade. This guy is physical. This guy is everything. He just is not. He has this bigger size, so he's not going to be playing at defensive end, which is what he was playing in college. He's going to have to be moved kind of in the defensive interior, and that's kind of why he's at this position, say dropped. But man, I don't see that as concerned. Sure, there's probably things I don't know about that you have to learn changing that position, but man, it's not like you're Robinson last year trying to learn, he's a quarterback, and then now he's trying to be on the other side of the ball and play defensive end. He's playing on the same side of the ball. I'm in shock that he's able around this 4th round pick, to be honest. I think he'd be a steal.
Yeah, Carl Brooks is an enigma. I can't wait to see where he actually goes.
Right?
Because I feel like he can either go like oddly high, like someone could take him in the early 3rd, late 2nd, or he could like literally go in the 6th or 7th or so. He's just such a unique player for real. Like so productive. Seems like he truly is a defensive end, but he should be a D tackle. So
that 3 tech. I mean, that's what we've been all praying and asking for. So he fits right in there.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. And PayPal, I don't know about you, but like when you're in the 4th round, were you thinking about running back? Because like it feels like running back range in the 4th round a little bit.
Yeah, it's weird. Ever since kind of that I've been just thinking about the Bears, and ever since I kind of looked at the prospects they've been looking at, they looked at Bijan Robinson, and the other guys that they looked at were just undrafted guys. So it just shows me it's like, okay, we got to look at Bijan because he's blue chip, but besides that, we already have our guys for next year. Maybe they don't think that they can move in a rookie running back into the roster this year, get an undrafted guy kind of on the practice squad. Hopefully he turns out or something, but we'll see what my later picks, but it makes me like not as high on drafting a running back actually this year for the Bears.
I feel you with that. I literally was going back and forth. For this pick, right at 103, I was going back and forth going, all right, do I go corner? Do I go running back? I know Steve in the comments was saying, where's your corner, right? Like, because I don't have one. I went center. I went wide receiver. I went edge. I went D-line, O-line, and wide receiver. And that's where I do like the talent right around here at 103 when it comes to the cornerback position. If there's not a good one, like I'm talking Darius Rush, and, of course, our boy, Travius Hodges Tomlinson. For like the 10th time we've drafted him in a mock draft. Corner out of TCU. You already know the story. 5'8", 178. I looked at Kenny Moore, and Hodges Tomlinson is more athletic than Kenny Moore. He's a little bit shorter than Kenny Moore because he is a shorter corner. He's more 5'8", while Kenny Moore was 5'9", but he's only 7 pounds lighter. So even though he's got that inch on him, he's still good. Like, he's phenomenal. He's got great twitch. I like moving him to the inside and see what this guy's got. The way that he moves, his production, you got to take a flyer on this guy. And that's why, to me, I feel comfortable about drafting a corner like this and having him compete, right? And if nothing's good out there, maybe you get like a Rock Ya-Sin in free agency, right? He's still out there. I love Hodges Tomlinson. So that's where, to me, I really like him. I like the later round corners out there. So that I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And I'm glad you said the later round corners. I guess I'll mention one now. There's one guy I think the Bears should get. I don't have him in my mock draft. I love Starling Thomas. I drafted a corner earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get I'm not going to double up. We don't need to do that on the Bears. But Starling Thomas, it's like you were talking about before. If we don't want a slow corner or like a guy doesn't have that speed, Starling Thomas has the speed. He ran a 4.3. He was one of the best. He had the 8th most pass deflections in college football last year. Crazy stat. He looks like he's a really fun player to watch on film. And for being a faster guy, I mean, his size isn't bad at all. He's 6 foot, like 190. So he's not that small. Plays outside and good in the run game. So that's a guy, and there's people saying he's in the 5th round, so, or even in the 6th. So that's another guy I just want to keep a lookout. Starling Thomas, the 5th.
Yeah, I saw him on one of your mocks that you sent over to me where we had all those things. So I like it. I like that you're looking at him. I got to put him on tape. I have not actually watched his tape. So there's still time. There's just a couple more days and there's time for this. But PayPal, right now, who do you got? Because we're going to dive into pick 133. Then after this, you did a 7-rounder. I didn't dive into the 7 rounds. So who do you have at pick 133 in the 4th round?
Yeah, this might be if we were doing like any of those other mock drafts where if you draft the same position, they would absolutely hate my draft so far. Because I mean, I just got Will McDonald, then I got Carl Brooks, so like another edge defender, and then I'm gonna go Kobe Turner, Brad. I think everyone's favorite coming on it. Now he's kind of coming up, and everyone's kind of recognizing, wow, this guy is good. Hey, Brad. It's the unbearable podcast effect or something. Like we have some effect of we'll just talk about a guy and then it just raises. I don't know who's listening to us, but like, hey, if it's like that Mike guy, didn't Mike just leave from PFF? But it is one of those PFF guys. Just let us know, like let us hop on the PFF podcast or something. But But yeah, Kobe Turner, like another outstanding guy, played at like Wake Forest, so a smaller school, kind of like Carl Brooks. That 3 technique as well. People might be saying, "Oh, Blake, why are you doubling up on 3 technique, kind of interior guys?" I said it before. I'm gonna say it again. We can't have enough defensive line, and I don't know if you can agree with me, Brad, but I think all the guys on our defensive line are playing for their jobs. There's no one on that line where you're like, okay, they're going to be on the team for a while. Their contract might say it or something, but they're all not there. Like we're not going to be, it's not like a Khalil Mack or something. We're like, okay, we got to keep this guy for a while. So I love this guy. 93.1 run defense grade, 14.7% pass rush win rate, 11.5% run stop win rate. He just dominated in the league. So I love it. He just has those shorter arms, but hey, if you're performing, like if he has short arms, who cares? Like he's working the way around. He's creating that leverage. So
that is my biggest fear though with him too, is like you see just his hands, the way that he plays is just nuts. Like I think he's so good. And I love that pick. I love that pick so much that I made the picks as well. My pick at 133 is also Kobe Turner. I'm doubling up at defensive tackle because, like I mentioned before, I do think that the Bears just need that help. And with that, you can take a big, not a huge gamble, but Kobe Turner has such a high ceiling that I really like him. And he's more of that three tech. Benton, that's where I love Benton's versatility. Benton,
Yep.
I do think he might go a little bit earlier than 53, but that's where you bring in Benton, you bring in Kobe Turner, you have some dogs up there at the defensive tackle spot. That's what I really like out there. And that's where I do love this. So I totally
Mhm.
agree with you out there with the D tackles. We're doubling up. We're taking some good players, and you need the help, right? You need the help out there at the defensive tackle position. So PayPal, you have the rest of your draft as well. Do you want to just kind of run through at
Yeah.
who you kind of had for yours?
Yeah, so for my last 3 picks, I got Chase Brown out of Illinois. I know I was kind of talking about not drafting a running back, but when it kind of gets to that later rounds, you kind of it's really just that best available, and you're kind of just like, all right, are any of these guys good? Got Chase Brown. Love his physicalness. I mean, he's 5'9", 209. I think that's a perfect size for running back. Absolute bowling ball. And then Trey Dean the third safety. I think it's important to get that younger safety, develop him. Kind of develop under like a Eddie Jackson. We don't know, when age is gonna kind of catch up to him. Um, and two, just kind of playing the special teams. And then last pick, EJ Jenkins. If you listen to the show, talked about EJ Jenkins a little bit, where he's technically a wide receiver, but he essentially is a tight end. He's going to convert to a tight end. Um, Crazy. He's a physical freak at 6'6", 245. And I mean, he ran a 4.6. So fast, big, strong guy. Just going to take a little bit to adjust to that tight end role, which I'm fine with because we do not need a third tight end yet. I mean, we got everyone. We got Cole Kmet and we got good old Robert Tunyon. So
Bobby Tanyan, yeah,
Bobby
it's such a
Tunyon,
yeah,
yeah.
Bobby Tanyan.
Yeah, Bobby Tunyon. So yeah, I think it'd be nice to just it's like getting those safeties, getting that late round guys is kind of the development under the successful, position groups you already have. We're not going to get a tackle at 7.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do like the mock, right? I do really like your mock that you have overall. But we can just kind of run through just what we have, right? Here's our final mocks. Also, too, let us know who you think had the better mock draft down in the comments. I like you had the trade, which I'm like, man, that's great. Like
Hey, you had the trade too, though.
I did, but I did get rid of someone in order to do that. So
Hey.
my mock draft, I went Paris Johnson at 9, Keanu Benton, defensive tackle out of Wisconsin at 53, Foskey at 61, Whippler at 64. Traded away Cody Whitehair and picked up Michael Wilson, the wide receiver out of Stanford at 92. Travis Hodges Tomlinson, cornerback out of TCU at 103. And at 133, Kobe Turner, the D tackle at Wake Forest. And then PayPal, you traded back and got 17 and 32. And you ended up going with Paris Johnson. And then you at 32, you go Will McDonald, the defensive end. Tyreek Stevenson at cornerback. Luke Whippler as well at pick 61, though. Tank Dell at 64, the wide receiver. Carl Brooks, the edge D tackle at 103, 133, Kobe Turner, and Chase Brown, the running back, like you said, Troy Dean, and E.J. Jenkins. I think this is good. Like,
yeah, Brad. I think we need to just combine
yeah.
our drafts. Basically, I think that's what we got to do. I think if I would be critical of myself, is maybe not do Will McDonald. I think that's someone I'm kind of unsure if he would fit our scheme, but I mean, he's a super talented guy. So when I saw him, I was like, I have to get him. But it's kind of, yeah, is he gonna fit our team?
I also like what Donald said in the comments where at 133, Isaiah McGuire, that's a really good call. Where Isaiah McGuire, the defensive end out of Missouri, we got to look out for him. We liked him on the show. He's someone that is jumping around. I've seen sometimes he goes in the third, sometimes he goes in the fifth. But yeah, he's very, very strong, a good defensive end that you can get later on. There's actually a lot of good defensive ends you can get later on. Honestly, now that Don brought that up, I'm kind of like, I could see the Bears like not even getting a defensive end.
Hey, Brad, that's what there's that mock draft I sent you earlier. I'm just saying, it would get Bears fan. I would be like so angry. But just saying, this is what I did not pick a defender till round 4, but I think it turned out really well. I mean, I got KJ Henry, Kobe Turner. I like William Fajeco, and then he's an edge defender out of San Jose State. Very, very aggressive and high motor guy. But it's like you can still get those good players, for edge and defensive interior. It's just kind of like, but we need that help now.
Oh, yeah, that was your other one. At first, I thought that you were talking about this one. Like,
yeah, that was my other one where it's like, yeah, we do have a lot of guys. I mean, even who's the other defensive interior that we've been kind of seeing a lot more, like a Zach Pickens. I know that's he's been flying in the air because the Bears visited with him.
Yeah, Pickens is going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting. Let us know also, what do you think of the show down below? Like I said, too, email us at unbearablesports@gmail.com with everything. Bears Bones likes it. We just tried some new stuff out, trying to get more HD quality so that you guys can see our lovely faces. And before we get heading out, I also want to just give a shout out to our boy Donald. He's a member on our YouTube channel. If you would like to also be a member just like Donald, you can also subscribe to our membership. But also, too, Donald's been a fan basically since day one. So huge shout out to him. Huge shout out to everyone that's watching as well. Make sure to like and make sure to subscribe. But, man, it's draft season. It is finally coming to an end.
I'm getting nervous. I don't know why. I'm not picking in the draft.
So the show's basically over. I'm just curious. And everyone out there on YouTube also, I'm kind of curious, who's someone who you don't want the Bears to draft at 9?
Ooh.
Because I'll tell you mine. For me, it's like Van Ness. I don't want Van Ness. And I am oddly low on Tyree Wilson. I'm not a huge fan of Tyree Wilson. I'm like basically fine with everyone except for those two. Everyone else, I'm like,
he's been talked to too much where it kind of has been diluting, where it's like, all right, if we got him at 17, then I'd be happy getting Tyree Wilson. But even Lucas Van Ness at 17, I'm still kind of like, all right, is that still a reach? I don't know. I mean, he's a great player. But yeah, I guess Peter Skronsky is the one I think I would just I'd become like a Packers fan if we picked him or something.
Don't even say that. Don't even joke about it.
I didn't even say that. I shouldn't say
really?
that. Wow.
You don't like that?
I just think it would be really odd to get a guy that he just doesn't have those. If you're going like a number 9, you're getting a guy that's like going to fit your system, like fit everything perfectly. And it's like, okay, is this guy going to be a guard or, where it's like if you draft someone a little bit later, like a Kobe Turner, and he has those, short arms, you're willing to trade off his short arms for his incredible production,
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. I personally don't mind just because I think like he's going to be so good, right?
Yeah.
And I think like no matter what, then you have Tevin Jenkins, he's going to be up, right? So Bears Bones, not Bijan.
Bones he's like a PFF. He might be the PFF, he might be the PFF spy because he hates running backs.
I was going to say, because Dr. Eric Eager, he actually follows the show, who used to be part of PFF, but now he's not part of PFF. So, yeah. So Dr. Eric Eager, if you are paying attention, give us a little shout out down below. So, but let's wrap this up. Like I said, I'm just excited. I'm excited to go, and I'm excited. I'm pumped. But yeah, we will be going live Thursday night to break down the pick. We'll see how late we can stay up. We'll see if you can stay up, PayPal. We know that you're old now, so we won't be going at 7:30. We will be watching it. Let's go. So pumped. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we're out.